Every narcissist lives behind a mask, a perfect illusion carefully crafted to control how others see them. But there always comes a moment when the mask cracks, when truth seeps through the image, and in that moment, something they never expected happens: fear. At first, they pretend nothing's wrong. They laugh it off, deny, or deflect, but inside, panic spreads like wildfire. Their power depends on appearances, and when those appearances break, they feel something unbearable: exposure. Narcissists thrive in control. They manipulate perception, rewriting reality to suit their ego. But when people finally see through the act, the narcissist experiences their worst nightmare: a loss of image. It's not guilt they feel, it's humiliation. To them, being exposed isn't just about truth, it's about collapse. Their identity isn't built on honesty, but on performance. Once the performance ends, they have no script left. They don't know who they are without the mask. The first feeling that hits is shock. They thought the mask was indestructible. They believed their charm could outshine any suspicion. When it fails, the illusion shatters. Suddenly, the confident persona disappears, replaced by confusion and rage. They start blaming others. You betrayed me. You misunderstood. You twisted my words. Projection becomes their armor. Admitting fault is impossible, because accountability would mean accepting they were never as perfect as they pretended to be. Behind the rage is terror. Narcissists fear the one thing they can't control: truth. They've spent years avoiding mirrors that reflect their flaws. Now the world becomes that mirror, and they're forced to look. That exposure feels like death to their ego. They lose the admiration that once fed them. The audience stops clapping, and for the first time, the silence is deafening. They realize their power was never real. It lived only in other people's belief. Their reaction depends on the mask they wore. The charming narcissist becomes defensive. The victim narcissist becomes melodramatic. But underneath every reaction is the same feeling: shame disguised as anger. They might cry, beg, or act apologetic, not from remorse, but from fear of losing control. They want forgiveness, not healing. They're not sorry for the pain they caused. They're sorry they got caught. When the mask breaks, they scramble to repair it. New stories, new excuses, new lies. They'll rewrite history in real time, hoping you'll question your memory. It didn't happen like that. They'll insist. Their goal isn't truth, it's survival. But the cracks never fully heal. Once seen, they can't be unseen. Every fake smile feels forced now. Every word sounds rehearsed. The performance that once seemed effortless becomes exhausting. The illusion is collapsing from the inside. Without admiration, they feel invisible. Narcissists don't exist without an audience. They crave validation like oxygen, and when it's gone, panic sets in. The world feels cold and empty because the mask, not the person, was what people loved. They may lash out in revenge. Exposure triggers their fight instinct. They'll gossip, smear, or manipulate to restore their image. They can't accept the loss of control, so they try to destroy the credibility of whoever revealed the truth. It's a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative. If they can't be seen as good, they'll settle for being seen as powerful. "I'll ruin you before you ruin me" becomes their silent promise. But every act of vengeance only exposes them further. When people stop reacting, the narcissist feels something foreign: insignificance. They've built their entire life to avoid it. That emptiness feels unbearable. Without attention, they start crumbling, because behind the mask there's nothing solid to hold on to. Some retreat in silence. They disappear, licking their wounds in private, pretending not to care. But inside, the shame burns. They replay every moment, every glance, every word that revealed them. The memory feels like acid on their pride. Others double down. They create a new mask immediately, a reinvention, a new partner, new job, new story, anything to escape the identity that cracked. But no matter how they disguise it, the same insecurity follows them everywhere. Exposure also triggers jealousy. They start comparing themselves to the people who saw through them. They think they're better than me. The narcissist's pain turns to resentment because they can't stand the thought of others seeing them as flawed. And yet, part of them knows it's over. The power, the control, the admiration, all gone. They feel like an actor whose audience left mid-performance. The lights are still on, but the theater is empty. That emptiness turns into self-pity. They'll tell anyone who listens, "People always misunderstand me." They rewrite exposure into victimhood. It's a clever disguise, one that earns sympathy instead of accountability. But even that doesn't last. Over time, people recognize the pattern. The stories repeat. The tears sound rehearsed. The narcissist's credibility fades, and their charm loses power. The audience is tired of the same performance. When that happens, something rare occurs: silence. For the first time, the narcissist is alone with their thoughts. No distractions, no admiration, no applause, just them, stripped of illusion. And what they see terrifies them. Without the mask, they realize how little identity they have. They don't know what they truly value, who they really love, or what makes them human. Their whole life has been performance, and now there's no script left to follow. They start to feel the weight of their own emptiness. The relationships they ruined, the trust they broke, the people they pushed away, it all catches up. Exposure isn't just public, it's personal. They finally meet the self they've been running from. Some try to numb the pain with distraction, new relationships, addictions, or grand projects, anything to avoid introspection. But the mask no longer fits like before. The cracks show through every attempt to pretend. Others sink into bitterness. They blame the world for not understanding them. They say everyone's fake or ungrateful. It's easier to hate the truth than to face it. But every excuse deepens their isolation. The strong ones, the survivors who exposed them, don't need revenge. Their peace is punishment enough. Every time they smile genuinely, it reminds the narcissist what authenticity looks like, something they can't imitate anymore. When they see you calm and unbothered, they feel powerless, because your peace exposes what their power always lacked: sincerity. They wanted control, but you found freedom, and freedom makes their illusion look small. They'll try to convince others that they're fine. "I've moved on. I'm doing great." But deep inside, they're haunted by the one truth they can't manipulate. Their power depended on lies, and lies don't last forever. The more they deny it, the heavier it grows. The truth doesn't disappear when ignored. It waits. It sits quietly, whispering reminders in moments of stillness. And every whisper sounds like the one thing they fear most: exposure. That's when self-doubt creeps in. For the first time, they question their worth. The mirror that once showed perfection now reflects emptiness, and even though they'd never admit it out loud, they start to wonder if they were ever truly loved. They realize people didn't love them for who they were, but for the act they performed. That realization stings, because it confirms what they always suspected, that without the mask, they're ordinary. And for a narcissist, ordinary feels like death. You might think this awareness leads to change, but it rarely does. Instead of growth, they build a new illusion. This time as the reformed or healed narcissist. It's just another mask, worn for sympathy instead of admiration. The cycle begins again. New audience, Same script, but this time it's weaker. Each repetition drains them more. The applause feels thinner, the lies heavier, the truth keeps knocking, and the mask keeps slipping. Even in their new roles, the shame lingers. They can't escape the memory of being seen. Every time someone looks at them too closely, they flinch. Exposure leaves scars that ego can't cover. They start living in constant fear of being unmasked again. Behind the fear lies exhaustion. Keeping up an illusion takes effort, endless energy, endless lies. Eventually, even narcissists get tired. The performance that once thrilled them now feels like a burden they can't put down. They envy the people who don't wear masks, the ones who can admit mistakes, show vulnerability, and still be loved. That kind of freedom feels impossible to them, because to be real would mean losing control, and they've built their identity on control. Sometimes, in quiet moments, they glimpse regret. They remember those who cared, those who stayed, those who believed. They miss them, not for love, but for what those people gave, validation. It's the closest thing they ever felt to worth. But regret without reflection changes nothing. They'll blame the exposure on others forever. To face the truth would require humility, and humility would mean tearing off the mask completely, something most of them will never do. The narcissist tragedy isn't that they were exposed, it's that they refused to learn. Instead of freedom, they choose illusion again. And every time they rebuild it, it breaks faster, because truth doesn't fade, it follows. Those who exposed them move on quietly. They build lives grounded in honesty and peace. The narcissist watches from afar, both envious and confused. They don't understand how truth, something they feared, could lead to peace. Eventually, they're left behind. The world stops listening. Their voice, once powerful, becomes background noise. Because people no longer believe the performance. The audience has grown wiser, and the illusion no longer sells. Their punishment isn't public humiliation. It's isolation. Living in a world where no one believes them anymore. Every smile they fake feels emptier. Every charm attempt falls flat. The mask has lost its magic. Meanwhile, you, the one who saw through them, become a mirror of truth. You don't need revenge. Your peace is enough. Because nothing terrifies a narcissist more than someone who no longer fears their mask. Over time, their illusion turns into memory. People start seeing the pattern clearly. The narcissist, once powerful, becomes a warning, a story told to others about the cost of pretending. Their power fades into lesson. The truth they can't escape is simple. You can't live forever behind a mask. It always cracks under the weight of time, truth, and consequence. And when it does, the only thing left is what was real all along: emptiness. You can almost feel their despair as they realize it. No more admirers, no more control. Just reflection, harsh, honest, and silent. The mirror that once gave them pride now gives them clarity, and clarity is their undoing. So when the mask breaks, remember this: exposure isn't punishment, it's revelation. It shows the world what was always true. It reveals their weakness, your strength, and the power of truth to destroy illusion. Because in the end, every narcissist must face what they've spent a lifetime avoiding: the truth. Their charm fades, their lies collapse, and their mask shatters. What remains is the one thing they can't fake: the emptiness behind the performance.